record today, but I have to do it to him. How's everyone doing? Y'all doing okay? Y'all have a good week? It's Friday today. I had a rough 2 weeks. Emotionally, mentally, but I'm here. I don't wanna not upload or record. So here we are. Hello everybody. Welcome back to episode 7. Queen's Gambit, episode 5, 6, and 7 recap. We can probably start now. Hi everyone. How y'all doing? How am I doing? Oh, well, you see, let's start this again. I've been somewhat great and somewhat a roller coaster of emotions. I got good news today. So I'm in a good mood. I wasn't going to record. Like, I have been putting off recording this whole week because I was just waiting for this piece of news. But it finally came, so I'm in a good mood. I want to record. I'm gonna fucking give my fucking opinions. I don't know why I said that for twice. I don't cuss as much. RIL. Richards Bay versus University of Pretoria. Soccer match is about to start. Just got a notification. Okay, anyway. Yeah, today we're gonna be talking about episodes 5, 6, and 7. I struggle to think of ways in which I could go about formatting this episode. So I didn't come to a conclusion. We are going to be flying by the... You know what that saying is? I don't remember what it is. But anyway, I want to start off by saying that I am kind of upset that I started this show because I just don't care for it. Like, I think I only continued because I had to talk about it in my podcast and Anya Taylor-Joy. Like, those are the only two reasons. Anya's a great performer, great actress. She really like came through in the show, but like the rest of it, I really could have not watched the show if Anya wasn't a part of it. Like, high key. But here we are, and I'm going to give my as much of a critical look into the show as I can. I watched Thomas Flight on YouTube and his dissection of the editing and the cinematography of the show. If you haven't seen it, check it out. He does like great... Can you hear that? That was me scratching. He does a great like in-depth analysis, breakdown of editing, cinematography, pacing, and all that stuff. I watched this video on Parasite and what was that movie called? Bohemian Rhapsody. Bohemian Rhapsody. And yeah, I think he's just like a great person to talk about film with, who talks about film, because I don't talk about film with him, but you know what I mean. I really enjoy his videos either way, so I watched that and I was like kind of unmotivated because apparently like a lot of people like the show, right? Like, it's been trending on South African Netflix for like a while, and I've seen like breakdown videos of it as well and people praising it on Letterboxd, but I think it's really just fine. Like, I think it's like mediocre. I don't know, like maybe I missed something somewhere along the way. But as an overall, I think I would give it a 6.5 out of 10. Maybe a 5.5. Yeah, I would give it a 5.5 or 6.5 out of 10, solely on Anya and the fashion looks and the costume pieces. The fashion looks. Who am I? The costumes, also I've just like been watching better things. Yes, I mean my K dramas. Um, and I've been getting into more movies as well. And I don't think I enjoy period pieces. Um, just because of them being period pieces and it being a whole. Like every era had its own issues. So I really can't overlook that part. What else? Yeah, I think the only period piece that I enjoy is Pride and Prejudice, and you know why. If you watched Pride and Prejudice and you read the book, you know why. You know why. Like that's the only period piece I can think of that I've actually enjoyed. They probably are more, but I can't think of any. Let's start. So I wanted to start off with saying that I did a couple of I did some research before, like at the end. I didn't want to do it before because I didn't want to get spoiled, but I wanted to see how true the book was to the show and what the creators of the show have like done in the past. So the creators were Scott Frank and Alan Scott. Scott Frank wrote for Marley and Me, The Wolverine, A Walk Among Tombstones, and Logan. I haven't watched Marley and Me. I think I've watched Wolverine. I don't like. I can't remember or like keep track on all of these superhero movies. So Marley and Me, I haven't watched. The Wolverine, maybe. I've definitely watched A Walk Among Tombstones. It's a neo. Fuck me. It's a action thriller with that actor from Taken, Liam Neeson. And I just remember it being very slow, very dark, very kind of cold and calculated. I could not tell you what the premise was though. I think it was a man on the hunt of to kill someone, you know. And then Logan, absolutely loved that movie. I did cry at the end, even though I'm not like a huge MCU person. But this movie was really, I thought it was really good. I remember it also being slow and calculating, but like not slow. Like the pace was enough for me. I didn't feel like falling asleep at certain parts, but it kept a good pace. The ending was fantastic. The story was good. I liked Logan. I think out of the work, Scott Frank's work, I think Logan was my favorite. And then Alan Scott's, I couldn't find much information on him, but I did find out that he's Scottish. And then I wondered I questioned if the show's representation of chess was as accurate. I also wonder about like with doctor shows and lawyer shows. I wonder if doctors watching and they're like, "This is garbage. What you're doing is wrong." What you are educating the public about is not correct. That's what I think of when I watch like How to Get Away with Murder or Grey's Anatomy. I wonder, do doctors and lawyers think this is accurate? So I wondered that for the show as well, if the chess being played and how people in the chess world acted was being accurately portrayed. And from what I saw, yeah, people in the chess community felt that it was a accurate representation. Um, and I think that's due to the fact that they consulted former chess champions Gary Kasparov and chess coach Bruce Pandolfini. Pandolfini. Excuse my mispronunciation. So that question was answered. And then I saw that from two things that changed from the book. Towns was not gay in the book, and Cleo did not exist as a character in the book, so she was brought in for the show. Which I'll get into when I talk about the episodes because About Cleo, not Towns. I didn't like him at all from day one. Sorry. I don't know, something about him. But I mean, the whole show, I think, every other character I'm just not interested in, except for Jolene, who we'll talk about. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in the next in the episode recap. And then I had like questions that may be answered or may not be answered. I don't know. Where were the women in chess? Like, I'm sure there were. I know that it's a male dominated game, but I'm sure there were like a couple of women in chess around that time as well, around the 1960s. Because I wanted more friendships. I wanted more female friendships for her. We only got a glimpse with Jolene and Cleo, but again, I'll talk about it. I know Scott. Like, I know Scott can write well for women characters, so I don't understand why he didn't introduce another female character that was like a good friend and a good helper to Beth as well. But I mean, I guess it was a male dominated game, so the two other men that did help her, I guess, like, I guess, you know. But if you change towns and if you brought in Cleo, why not bring in someone else? You know what I mean? Like, if you had the liberties to change those two things, why not change other things as well? I'm just thinking. I'm just thinking about it. Yikes. Okay. I think that's why I didn't remember a lot from episode 3 and 4 and why it was so short. Because I just kind of, like, it went downhill for me. Like, the first two episodes, I enjoyed them. And I was curious, but after that, it just wasn't the same. But let's talk about it. Episode 5. Oh my god, what was the name? Why didn't I write the names down? Uno momento. I'm learning Spanish. Español. Yo vivo. I don't know what this. Yo vivo mi familia. I love my family. Is it para? Isn't para for? I live for my family, sure. Yo vivo para familia, mi familia. No. Episodes. Okay. Episode 5. Fork. Fork. So anyway, episode 5. What I remember from the episode is in the beginning we kind of deal with, well, Beth is dealing with her loss to Bulgov and the loss of her mother. And before she even gets a chance to deal with it, Beltek calls and he shows up and he kind of helps her to train. Helps her train, like, not train, but learn other chess moves and chess things. And they kind of had this discussion about whether it's talent or what's this thing called? Talent or learning, like studying. And then he compares her to a famous chess player, Paul Murphy, who retired when he was very early because it was rumored that he went mad. He retired when he was 21 from chess, but apparently he was like amazing. Like, he was one of the best chess players out there. And Baltic compares Beth to him, and I can kind of understand that because she is someone that seems to be like spiraling, and obviously because of the drugs and the alcohol and her addictions. But she's a very talented player. So I think he's just trying to hone her skills and just help her become one of the greats without spiraling into madness. I think that's the whole point of Baltic arriving. And then the second half of the episode, she plays against Benny in a speed race in a cafeteria where she keeps losing and then she wins the big match against him. So her and Benny obviously meet up at this like university and they play more tournaments. You know what's bothering me? Like again, I think I asked this question or I made like a prediction of her getting a job in the next coming episodes. She never did. But why? Can you live off of chess winnings? Are they that much? Apparently you can. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, I'm getting sidetracked. Her and Benny, they play. She loses at the speed race, but she wins at the big one, and he offers to train her as well. And they go to New York together, and this was the moment where I was like, okay, obviously something's gonna happen. As soon as she was like, I like your hair. And as soon as he went, there's no sex. Okay. So that happens in what, episode 6? But before all of that, I'm really just like summarizing these episodes. But before like they actually leave, there was a moment where Beth was sitting on the bench and she was just like observing people. And there was a black man that rode by in his bicycle, and my first thought was, oh my god, do not make her think, or do not cut to a scene with Jolene, or do not cut to a scene where Beth is like calling up Jolene and like catching up. Like I do not want that because she saw a black man riding around on a bicycle. That didn't happen though. But she just took a moment for herself to just like look around, I think, and appreciate things. Right? I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't paying attention. Sweetie. Maybe I should just give this up. You know, like not talk about episode 5 and 7 and just talk about whatever I want to talk about next, which is what, next week. It's a good thing I'm not writing exams. I finished writing exams this week, so. But yeah, that was episode 6. That's literally all I remember and think was relevant. Um I don't have any like deep interpretation of what happened. She lost. She came home. She didn't deal with her grief like she hasn't been doing all season. Or all how many ever years is 20. I don't know. Like she hasn't been dealing with the loss of her mother since she was 9 years old. So it's not really a surprise at this point. Again, check out Thomas Flight's whole in deep analysis of like one scene. It was so in depth, but I did study for it, and now I'm just someone that just likes watching things and had the bright idea to talk about them. And it's supposed to be like fork in the road. Like she had to make a decision. Did she make a decision? But why was it called fork? Is fork like a chess term? Nah. I think in the beginning of this episode 5, she gets she doesn't get, but we see a flashback to her mother, her birth mother. I don't remember if it was in this episode where she was talking about men or the other one. Maybe, I don't know. But let's move on to episode 6, Adjournment. This one we get more training montage from Benny. We get a flashback with her mother. We are introduced to Cleo. Did I say her name was Chloe in the first part? Or Cleo? Hopefully I said Cleo. I meant Cleo. Benny and her sleep together. We get back to where we started in the show. She's in Paris now. We get a montage of her playing in Paris, her looking sophisticated in the streets of Paris. Like, again, her outfit's amazing. Check out Mina Lee's YouTube on the Queen's Gambit and like her whole analysis on it. I think she does a great job about it. And she was looking sophisticated. Beth, I mean, absolutely loved her moment at the press conference. Like, this is what I mean when she can just handle herself. Like, why can't we introduce more female characters like that in her life? You know what I mean? Like, she was so calm, cool, collected. And then she like even showed off her Russian skills. People were impressed. I was impressed. I wanted more things like that, more moments like that. But we didn't get it. But we move on. That's literally what I've been saying the whole of 2020. We move. But yeah, after the press conference, she meets up with Cleo in Paris, and she like persuades her to stay up all night and like drink with her. She hasn't been drinking this whole time with like she hasn't been drinking since she got to New York with Benny. Like he's been helping her stay sober, and it proved that she was kind of like sharp while she was sober. When they were playing another speed chess game race thing, and she won all of them against like Benny and these two other guys. That's when we were introduced to Cleo. But yeah, so she's been sober this whole time. Then she gets to Paris, she meets up with Cleo. She drinks, she starts drinking again. It's late at night. She has a tournament against, she has a game. I don't know if it's a tournament. She has a game against Brogov the next day, but she's out with Cleo. And then we cut to the opening shot that we started with in Paris 1967. And then we find out that it's actually Cleo in the bed. Hello, twist. And I read that Paul Murphy was found in the bathtub. He died, I think, from a stroke. I can't remember what he died from, but he was found in his bathtub. And we open in Paris with Beth in a bathtub. So I like that kind of little like, remember Paul Murphy? Remember we mentioned him? Oh, keep an eye out for any like kind of Easter egg things about him. So yeah, no, we just open with that, and then yeah, we find out that it was Cleo in the bed. We rush down to the game, and she's late, and she looks distraught, and everyone can notice. So she's playing against Borov, and she's asking, like, she's very flustered. She's asking for water, a bunch. Borov is looking at her like, okay, like what happened? And I don't know who thought that she was gonna win this part. And that's another thing, when she loses, or when she, okay, I'll get to it at the end as well. But yeah, she loses the game. A tear falls down her face. Brogov kind of looks, he looks like he's set aback by that reaction of hers. I don't know what he expects. I don't know if he didn't expect her to cry, or if he just seemed shocked by what was happening. But I had a question as to why did we start off with that scene? Why did we start off with us in Paris with Beth? Oh, I didn't mention, but she did take the pills before playing the game. The tranquilizers. And I think she hadn't been taking the tranquilizers again with Benny because he was help keeping her sober. But yeah, why did we start off with that scene? Why did we and then work our way back and then forward? Obviously, it wasn't her last moment. I didn't think that we were going to end the show with her in Paris. Was that what they wanted us to think? Because, like, I'm just thinking, from Haunting of Hill House and how they tell stories and how they start from different, how they show different perspective, and like this way of storytelling. What's his name again? His way of telling story in both Haunting of Hill House and Haunting of Bly Manor is just so interesting, and it really does like take you on a journey and makes you think as an audience member. Yeah, Mike Flanagan. So I don't know if that was what they were trying to go for, but it just didn't turn out as interesting as how Mike does it. Like, you have me questioning why start with that scene. But anyway, she gets back home and Mr. Wheatley's waiting for her after her loss. She has to deal with this man, and he is busy bullying her into selling the house. And they have an argument saying, you're not my daughter, I don't want you, I just adopted you to keep Mrs. Wheatley happy and quiet, but she just wouldn't shut up. He says something, oh, la, 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 this is pathetic. And Beth goes, I'm looking at pathetic. And like, truly, because this man is literally bullying this child, this woman that he adopted. And it's like, no, I didn't, you're not mine. And she had to take care of everything when it came to Mrs. Wheatley's funeral. So the actual like disrespect that he gives her, and it's just another example of how the men in her life are just like, I think that's why, okay, literally coming to a realization. I think that's why they had that whole crescendo moment at the end with all the boys. Anyway, well, again, talk about it when it comes there, but like, I've just come to a realization. But I wanted to like correlate how Mr. Wheatley was acting to how we started off the episode with a flashback of Beth's mom, and she was sewing Beth's dress, the one that we saw in the beginning of episode 1. And she was busy talking about, later on when you're older, I'll tell you about men and how they ain't shit. And again, like, she just sees it. She's living that statement. He's just like an awful guy. She obviously pays him, but she pays him like minus the amount of the house minus the funeral expenses, because she had to pay for that as well, because he would not do that. But after that happens, she starts spiraling. She starts drinking a lot. Harry comes over because he's worried about her, and she's just like, don't care about me. And they have like this conversation about how his father was also a drunk, and he can see the signs in Beth, and that whole like internal struggle that she's having. But then he leaves. Like, that's as much as he can do, I guess. Then at the very end, Jolene shows up. She's still drinking, but yeah, no, Jolene shows up and sees that she's a mess, and sees that Beth is a mess, not a meth. And at this point, I was just annoyed. I was like, okay, but why are we bringing Jolene at the very end of the second last episode, and we're probably going to only see a little bit of her in the last episode? I was just like, what was the point of bringing her in? Why is this the... I wasn't happy about it. They literally just brought her back to make Beth feel better. Like, this is what I'm saying with like more female characters. Maybe I think if we spent more time with Jolene and her story and like developing her character, I would understand it more and I'll be more excited about it. But we didn't. Like, Beth literally left the orphanage and we didn't hear a peep from Jolene or anyone from the orphanage. So how am I supposed to root for Jolene to come back, and when she did come back, help Beth and be like, this is deserved, you know? And I'm going to talk about it more in episode 7. We get another flashback. Hold on, episode 7. What's the name? Endgame. You know, Riverdale. Yes, I watched Riverdale. I know I'm completely ashamed, but Riverdale ruined this term for me. Even when I was watching Avengers, or was it before or after? Either way, I cannot listen to the term endgame without thinking about Riverdale and not like shrivel up. I'm so mad. But I digress and I move on. Episode 7, Endgame, we get a flashback from her mom and of her mom and her father, and they're like having an argument, and her mom's like, please take her, I can't do this. It's not safe for her. And he's like, no, bitch, bye. Then she leaves. And I think that's the moment before she commits suicide. So that's what we start with. And then we find out from Jolene that the custodian has died, the guy that taught her chess. And then we realize, okay, wait, before, like, okay, hold on. So we find out the custodian has died. And then they drive down to the orphanage and we hear what Jolene's been up to. Cool, fine. When we get to the orphanage, we find out that Beth did not repay the custodian back for the $10 that he gave her. I was, ugh. She literally said, bye orphanage, never thinking about you again. Again, I can understand why though. She did not have the best time, but I mean, you had people who there that actually, you know what I mean? Like, you know how unbearable the orphanage was, but you found two people there that like made it somewhat bearable, and you just left them. I'm pushing it back to a 5.5 because the more I think about it, the more like annoyed I am. But yeah, she goes to his funeral. Barely anyone is there. No one is crying. Then she goes back to the basement where she learned chess with him, and she finds like this board of all of her accomplishments, all of her articles, all of her pictures. And I thought that was a really touching moment because this guy actually cared. This guy actually fucking cared, and this and Beth didn't even pay him back. She didn't even pay him. Oh my god. I don't know, maybe because I'm a petty person, but yo, I would have made sure that Beth paid me back. But yeah, no, that moment was upsetting to see that he actually kept up with her, and he was like probably the only father figure in her life that actually cared about her. But again, I think that's why Beth didn't really go back to him because he's probably gonna like disappoint me in the future because all men do, and she's like, maybe not bother. I don't know. That might not have been her mindset, but that's what I'm thinking. And this was like the ending, obviously the end episode ends like where everything Christian doesn't come together and like, you know, and like a hyped up moment. But I just realized that the show was so basic in this episode. I think that's why I wanted to so badly wanted to be like an anime, just give it a little oomph, a little like, yeah, you know, bring a little life into it. But I mean, Thomas Flight in his YouTube channel mentioned that chess is a quiet game anyway, so I guess that can kind of play into the show and how it's just like quiet, small, subtle moves and a lot of internal thinking. What's external thinking? Thinking out loud? I mean, I guess. It just needed an oomph for me. But she then has to go to Russia, but she can't go to Russia with the church because I forgot why. And then Jolene gives her some money, and I was so goddamn annoyed. Did we just bring back Jolene, the only person of color character, to give her money to go to Russia? She probably won't even pay her back. she probably won't even pay Jolene back. Okay. So she gets to Russia, Moscow. She's sent with this other guy who's like paranoid from the Chess Associates Institute, something, I don't know. He's very paranoid about Russian spies and then stealing American information or something like that. He was irrelevant. Um, she gets to Russia. She plays a couple of guys. We get introduced to this one woman chess player. Not even introduced. She gets mentioned to this one woman chess player, and it says that she's never played against a man before. And then I researched that and looked that up, and that's completely false. I think she was like based off a real person, and that actual person, that actual woman, did play against men. So I don't know why they lied or like switched up the information. So she wins, and she's winning. Then she comes up to a game with this guy with that looks like a scientist. He has like long white hair. I forgot his name. They play against each other. It takes like forever. Then they're like, okay, we'll resume tomorrow. And it's like cool. She gets back to the hotel. She sees that him, the long white haired man, this other random guy, and Brogov are playing together. Not playing together, but like strategizing for the chess game that he just played against Beth. And it kind of brought up the whole what Benny mentioned in episode 6. He said that the Russians play as a team and Americans are very individualistic. And you really see that like shown in this scene here where Beth sees all three of the men playing together and strategizing together. Then Beth goes back to her room and strategizes by herself. Um, yeah, that's why the Russians like win because they play as a team. Um, and I have this conversation with myself, well, and my parents, my mom specifically, about how like Africanism to her is about community and about helping one another and being like, a team. And then the Western kind of thinking is, yeah, the Western kind of thinking is it's all about me. I have to help myself out first, the individualism and that whole thing. And I think it's a very interesting topic to like dive into and learn more about. I think it's kind of understandable as well why we have those two separate idealisms. So back to the show. She wins against him, the white haired man. Um, and that means that she has to play against Rogov in the next round. And then we see that Towns shows up, is in Russia, and he's writing an article for something, I don't know. I don't care about him. So we move on. She then, I don't think anything else happens. I think they like strategize or something, I don't know. Right. Towns calls all the other men that she's like bonded with throughout. That's Benny, Harry, the twins, some other people I don't remember, and they like go through all the possible moves Borgov could make and what possible moves she could make to win. And they just strategize and eventually end up working as a team to help one another. So they play Borgov and Beth, and he asks for a draw, and she's like, no. And she wins. Surprise, surprise. I don't know. Did we expect Beth to lose a third time? Was this the third time? Second time? Or fourth time? No, it's the third time. Oh, the third time. So she won playing him the third time. And it wasn't as like oh my god, congratulations, she did so well, you know? Like I wasn't like, oh Beth, good go girl. I was like, "Quite cool. Kind of expected it because you won. You lost the other two times. So when were you gonna not win this time? I don't know. You see what I'm saying? And then what was I gonna mention about Charlene? Yeah, I can't remember. But yeah, that's the show. She on her way to the airport, she's wearing this all white ensemble, and she comes across old men playing chess in the park. Um, and then she just starts playing them because apparently she's very famous in Russia. Would that happen? Would a an American woman who is playing chess in Russia be praised as much as she was praised? Genuine question. I wanted to read my favorite review from Letterboxd about Queen's Gambit. They just like made sense. Hold on, let me find it. LMAO, hilarious how American people think Russian people would absolutely instantly fall in love with a spoiled, rich, white American girl that beat one of their best grandmasters in midst of the Cold War at that. The fact that the only black character is only ever on screen for plot reasons and they think it's woke because she calls Beth cracker a lot. Like, huh? Actually, there's a lot more fake wokeness here in general. Completely agree. We love cluelessly male written women. No one takes to losing that gracefully, especially a bunch of snobby white chess boys in the 60s. I was thinking about that as well. Like the man, like if you, how can I phrase this? I don't think white men can take loss that well. You know what I mean? Like I remember in a scene, she beat one of the guys that she was playing in the university, and he was like, it's fine. I cried like a bunch in my room and like played the game over my head." And you actually think, you know, I'm pretty sure there will be like some heavily sexist remarks from any man that she played and lost, and that lost to her. But I guess, you know, writing. Honestly, what the fuck even goes on here? This is such white American steaming pile of garbage. Although I'm not gonna argue that Anya Taylor-Joy was gorgeous like she always is. Yeah, that's my favorite review about this whole show. Like they nailed it on the head. Rachel, but I completely agree. It's just as we kept going, the show just didn't seem worth the hype. So my overall final thoughts, it would have been better as an anime. More ladies, more POC, obviously. Pretty average show, but Anya makes it better. Camera work and cinematography. Hello, camera work and cinematography were okay at sometimes, and sometimes they were not like fun. Um, I do want to learn chess though, but I also want to learn the drums, and I also want to roller skate. So cute clothes, and I put it at 6.5 out of 10, but I'm bumping it down to 5.5 out of 10. That is my review and final thoughts on Queen's Gambit. It's unfortunate. Everyone hyped up the show, even my brother, but I want to make sure that the next show I do, I'm actually like excited to actually talk about, so I'm not gonna like promise anything. I've been watching a lot of movies though. A lot of movies. I watched two. I watched The Hunger Games. Um, what else did I watch? Yeah, The Hunger Games and Freaky. I watched the movie. Shut up. I think that's gonna be it for today. I'm definitely planning my Nicholas Sparks movie ranking review thing. You wanna know why Nicholas Sparks? This man kind of shaped my whole romance genre liking. I remember watching The Notebook and A Walk to Remember and hiring the DVDs. Oh, remember hiring? Oh, hiring the DVDs and then watching the movies in my room and like crying my eyes out at fucking 14, 15 years old. Like I knew what was fucking happening. So I just want to go back, reminisce, and see why this man keeps writing books and keeps putting out movies. I'm just very curious. I've downloaded the first four of his movies. I think two of them I have not watched, and the other two I have, which are Notebook and Titanic. Fuck me. Notebook and A Walk to Remember. I know A Walk to Remember is gonna be my favorite one. I know she's gonna be at the top of the list. She's still, mwah, she's still perfect. I did not like The Notebook. I don't like The Notebook. I don't like The Notebook. I think it's overrated. It's highly overrated. But we're gonna see where it lands on the list and which one's the worst and which one's better. That's why I wanted to do Nicholas Sparks. Maybe I'll do another director and his like filmography. Someone who doesn't have a lot of stuff. Do I have anything else to add? I don't think so. I don't know what next week's episode's going to be about because I'm definitely not going to watch all of the Nicholas Sparks movies in 1 week. So we'll see. Like literally no promises. I don't know what's going to happen. Life, man. Okay, I'm going to shut up now. That's going to be it for today. I hope you take care of yourselves. I hope you take care of your emotional health. I hope you take care of your physical health. I hope you just take care of yourself. Spend time with yourself. Treat yourself. Love yourself. And tell yourself that you're proud of yourself for making it this far. I know it can be difficult sometimes. I wish I had better advice, but sometimes it's just the simple words, you know?